any racism from black people. They accepted me far more readily, I think, than white people accepted Ross.
By the 70s, the main wave of immigration from the Caribbean had ended. Black children born in Britain were here to stay. Most politicians ignored the impact of interracial marriage and how the growing number of mixed-race children should be identified.
I think I'm more afraid of the word half-caste. If anyone wanted to stop my marriage, I'd never heard that word before. You know, I think if they had used this to me, they would have stopped it.
Even now, I can't bear that word, half-caste. I think I'm more comfortable with mixed-race children, but I really believe that the children of a marriage like ours are black children.
Of course, naturally they're supposed to think of them as black. I just don't know. It doesn't matter to me what other people think about my children. It's what I think about them.
They know they're black, and no one can tell them any difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you couldn't say nothing wrong about black people. I mean, many a time I've said, I've said, you know, on these they're not half-caste, black mother. Always remember that. That's why, you know, and I used to just laugh and say, you see.
Sometimes my mum used to get a little bit upset because I'd be coming in and I'd be saying I'm black and I'm proud and things like that. And she'd say, well, you're half white as well. And I'd argue with her. I'd say, no, I'm not. I'm black. You can't see no white part of me. Where's the white part? I'm black. And especially if you were on the end of any racial abuse, you were always called a black so-and-so. You weren't called a half-caste or a mixed race so-and-so.
The whiteness does not, because it's not apparent, does not go away. It is there. It's very much. I feel very strongly, very part of me. You know. And it's fine. You know, I do think it's absolutely fine to be both, you know, a bit of both. In fact, it's quite exciting, really.
For a very long time, or forever, until now, mixed-race people have been labelled by other people. Other people decided what names to stick on them. And this is the first time that we now have a constituency of adults who are mixed race in this country who are talking about how they wish to describe themselves.
If I was in a situation where there'd be all black people, sometimes that I wouldn't be recognised as black by them. And sometimes, which was more often in a situation with white people, I wouldn't be recognised as white. So you can never win. You'd always find yourself sitting on the fence. So basically now I believe that I'm part of a third race, which is mixed race, and that we have, or I have a separate culture, which I'm learning and discovering about all the time.
I know I'm half English, but I don't really sort of go with this third race thing at all. It just doesn't feel comfortable. I see England as home. I'm a black woman, and with everything that carries with it, good and bad. I don't know if my opinion would be different if I had sort of very light skin, but I doubt it, because a lot of the Caribbean people I know, all different shades.
Mixed-race adults in traditional black areas had a very definite sense of their identity. For those in predominantly white areas, the issue was less straightforward. Derek Murray spent his teenage years in Chesterfield.
We had always thought of ourselves as special because there were no other brown kids around. We had this sort of idea almost that we were unique. One of the turning points, I suppose, was when the film Shaft came out, and here for the first time was a black man cast in the role of the hero of the film. I remember then we went for the afro and the leather coat and all the rest of it, and this was not long before I actually moved from Chesterfield, left for home and went to live in Liverpool. And then suddenly I'm in the midst of thousands of mixed-race people. And it was a hell of a shock. And
some parts of my environment when I was very young were very white, but everything else had my black family input and black friends. But for people who are black and who are maybe sort of move out to the country, where they really are the only black person around, that's something I feel really strongly sort of shouldn't happen.
Stornoway, the Isle of Lewis, one of a remote group of islands to the north of Scotland. Here there is no black presence to speak of, unless you count 11-year-old Jessica Horner. Her mother Maureen was born here